To me, each painting and each artwork is kind of its own standalone thing. It's like a lens into a larger narrative, and it's like I'm building a world for sure, but the narratives are kind of like floating around in that space. And yeah, I don't want to be prescriptive about that. Like, it's kind of left open intentionally. The show is called Grotto Domestic, and so I've always been drawn to the idea of like the grotto, these kind of either bunkers or bomb shelters or these kinds of subterranean spaces, a kind of like dystopian future, like where we can't go outside anymore, which is a pretty terrifying thought, especially in these paintings where it's sort of suggested loosely that that there's no outside, there's no above ground, there's no windows, you know what I mean? So you kind of get the sense that these figures are stuck here. And so then if you're stuck somewhere, how do you try to make it feel more welcoming or more, encapsulating, comforting? And so these interiors that are womb-like or something, you know what I mean? There's a lot of water in them. There's a lot of, like, they're all kind of set in caves, and there's a lot of carpet. I feel like they evoke a certain, like, almost like a childhood kind of memory space for me, but also kind of like an amusement park element where they feel very, like, not utilitarian at all, right? Like, they're not useful in a certain way. They're very, like, trying to create, like, a feeling, you know? One of the things I'm thinking about with these works is, like, a leisure society, like a post-work society, right? Like, what would people do if we didn't have to work? And it quickly gets kind of depressing to think about. Like, there's only so much lounging around or, like, being online that is interesting, right? But also I think that leisure is always a problem, like, politically, like, who has access to leisure, like, how is it doled out, you know, what does it encompass, like, what spaces exist for leisure? Are they public spaces? Are they collective? Are they, like, private spaces? So to me, leisure is always, like, an interesting topic and, like, always political. Particularly thinking about, like, a kind of world underground. There's no sense in these things that anyone has to work. It's a sense of kind of like this controlled environment, and then keeping oneself entertained seems like its own kind of job, its own kind of labor. My name's Jeremy Olson. I'm an artist based in Brooklyn. I make paintings and sculptures.